Welcome back to the Tarot Talk Show podcast. I'm George Dus. Last episode, we looked at shadow work through tarot, how the cards bring forward the parts of ourselves that we've tucked away, not to shame us, but to help us integrate. We talked about how every card in the Light Seer's deck has both a Light Seer and a Shadow Seer aspect. How reading the shadow isn't about trauma processing, but about honest recognition. If that conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Today, we're looking at a word that gets used a lot in spiritual spaces, often with a lot of promises attached: manifestation. I want to be clear right from the start. This isn't an episode about attracting outcomes or cosmic guarantee. It's not about the law of attraction or energetic alignment. This is about how tarot helps readers clarify intention, notice what's forming underneath the surface, and understand where choice meets timing. Manifestation, in the way I use it, is really about this: getting clear on what you're actually building, and then noticing where the cards point to momentum or resistance. It's grounded and practical. It's about reading the symbolic anchors that tell you whether an intention has traction or if you're still in the idea phase. One thing I've noticed at fairs is how often people come to my table wanting the cards to tell them that something's definitely going to happen. They want reassurance, certainty, the universe is confirming their plan. And I get it. That impulse makes sense. But tarot doesn't work that way. There's no cosmic guarantee, no promise that visualization alone makes things happen. What the cards actually do is show you where you are in the process, whether you're still thinking about something or actually building it, where your attention keeps going or what you're missing. So when I say manifestation in this episode, I'm talking about using the cards to see your intention more clearly. What you're actually trying to build. Is this idea grounded yet or still floating? Are you in building mode or still dreaming? The cards show you which stage you're in through their symbolism. In this episode, I'm looking at manifestation through tarot, how certain cards show momentum versus waiting, the difference between wishful thinking and actual intention, a story from the fair about a woman waiting for telepathy, a short guided visualization, and a collective card at the end. If you're enjoying these conversations, feel free to follow the show on your platform of choice. So take a deep breath with me. Inhale and exhale. And let's begin. So let's talk about what manifestation is and what it isn't. In a lot of spiritual content, manifestation gets framed as attraction. You hold the right thoughts, you raise your vibration, you visualize what you want, and the universe delivers. That's not what we're doing here. That's not tarot. That's coaching with cosmic language. What I mean by manifestation in tarot practice is this: the process of something moving from intention to form, idea to action, possibility to presence. And the cards, when you know how to read them, show you where you are in that process. The Magician is probably the clearest example of this. In Rider-Waite-Smith, the magician stands at a table with all four suit symbols laid out: wands, cups, swords, pentacles. One hand points up, one points down, and the infinity symbol hovers above. The message is, as above, so below. You have the tools. You can bring the spiritual into the material. The Magician doesn't promise success. It says you have what you need to begin, pointing to readiness, not outcome. In the Light Seer's deck, the Shadow Seer side of the Magician is equally important. Unused potential, blocked creative energy, and need to focus your energy. So when the Magician shows up in a reading about intention, the question isn't, will this happen? The question is, are you actually using what you have, or are you waiting for more? Then there's the Ace of Wands. In the Light Seer's deck, this card shows a figure with eyes closed, a flame hovering above their head just where their third eye is. Connected beads hang down, a reference to intranet, the idea that all things are interconnected. The figure is imagining, channeling, receiving the spark from the cosmos of creativity. This is the personification of the collective unconscious, the field where ideas come from. In traditional decks, you can see a hand emerging from the clouds, forming a living wooden staff that sprouts leaves. Same concept, different imagery. The spark before the flame, raw potential waiting to be tended. The Ace of Wands is all about new ideas, a seed of potential, the arrival of inspiration, the ability to manifest anything. That phrase, the ability to manifest anything, is worth noting because it's not saying you will manifest anything. It's saying the potential is there. The spark exists. What happens next depends on whether you tend to the spark or let it fade. In the Light Seer's deck, the Shadow Seer aspect of the Ace of Wands is telling, feeling uninspired, creative blocks, unfocused energy, burnout. So the Ace is momentum, yes, but only if you meet it with action. Now compare that to the Three of Wands. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, you see a figure standing on a cliff, looking out over the water. 3 wands planted firmly behind them. They're waiting, having already sent their ships out, now watching the horizon. The 3 of Wands shows up when everything's already been set in motion, and you're watching to see how it unfolds. This energy is manifested, waiting for the results of your effort, progress. Notice that language. Energy manifested, not energy you're hoping for. Energy that you've already put in motion. You've done the work. Now you're in the waiting phase. In the Light Seer's deck, the Shadow Seer side names delays, fear of blocking movement, not dreaming big enough. So when you pull the 3 of Wands in a manifestation reading, it's not telling you to start. It's telling you that you've already started and now timing matters. Manifestation in tarot isn't about wishing. It's about recognizing stages. The Ace of Wands is the spark. The Magician is readiness. The 3 of Wands is momentum already underway. The 8 of Wands is speed and resolution coming fast. In the Light Seer's deck, this shows 8 decorated wands radiating from a central point like a starburst. All energy pointing in the same direction through galaxies and stars. Timelines, opportunities converging. The 10 of Wands is taking on too much and needing to prioritize. Each card points to a different part of the process. And when you read which stage you're actually in, you stop waiting for magic and start working with what's present. Manifestation through tarot is about clarity. It's about asking, what am I actually building? Is this idea grounded or still floating? Have I taken action or am I still planning? Am I noticing resistance or momentum? Where is my focus actually landing? The cards don't predict outcomes. They show you what stage you're in. One of the most useful things tarot does is help you distinguish between wishful thinking and actual intention. Here's what I mean. Someone comes to my table at a fair and says, I want to start my own business. Will it work? They're hoping for a yes. They want the cards to confirm that their dream is viable. But when I lay out a spread, what I'm looking for isn't prediction. I'm looking for whether the energy behind the question feels active or passive. Are the cards showing building and momentum? Or are they showing ideas without grounding? If I see the Ace of Pentacles, a hand emerging from the clouds holding a single coin above a lush garden in traditional decks, it tells me that the foundation is there. The seed exists. The material ground is present. New ventures, manifesting power, tasks taking their first form. But if I see the Page of Wands in the Light Seer's deck, a figure in the desert landscape playfully holding a spinning wand with new landscapes to explore, that tells me we're still in the inspiration phase. Creative beginnings, newly found inspiration, but also limiting beliefs and a need to ground your ambitions with a plan of action. The idea is alive, yes, but it hasn't been anchored yet. There's energy, but no structure. And if I see the 10 of Wands in the Light Seer's deck, a woman in yellow walking at dusk with a Serpa carrying bundles. 3 wands left behind, anchored in the ground along her path. That tells me the person is already stretched thin, but learning to prioritize. She's carrying 7 wands now, not all 10. The Serpa shows asking for help. The 3 of Wands left behind show what's been deliberately released. The suitcase shows traveling lightly instead of taking on everything. Whatever they're hoping to manifest, they don't have the bandwidth for it yet. The question isn't, will it work? The question is, what are you willing to let go of to make space for this? So, manifestation through tarot is really about symbolic clarity. You're not asking the universe for permission. You're asking the cards to show you what you're actually dealing with. Where is your energy? What's grounded and what's still conceptual? Where your resistance is showing up? Where your momentum already exists? I had a reading once with someone who wanted clarity about whether they should apply for a specific job. They've been thinking about it for months, but haven't submitted anything yet. They kept on saying, I'm manifesting the right opportunity. So I pulled 3 cards in a simple past, present, future spread. 7 of Wands, Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the 8 of Wands. Past position, the 7 of Wands. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, a figure stands on high ground, holding a wand defensively while 6 other wands rise from below. They're holding their position, protecting what's theirs. This told me she's been holding the idea close, defending it, keeping it safe. Present position, the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Upright, this queen sits in a garden, grounded and abundant, holding a pentacle. Reverse, it can point to a lack of confidence, feeling blocked, doubting your readiness. She was sitting in self-doubt right now. Future position, the 8 of Wands. Speed, good news, resolution. If she actually moved forward, things would happen fast. And here's what I said. You're defending your idea without actually putting it forward. You're holding it close because you're afraid of rejection. But the 8 of Wands says if you actually apply, things will move fast. The opportunity is there. You're the one slowing it down. That's not prediction. That's a reading in symbolic structure. The 7 of Wands shows protection and hesitation. The Queen of Pentacles reversed showed doubt about readiness. And the 8 of Wands showed speed waiting to happen. The block wasn't the job. The block was their own fear of moving forward. And that's what tarot does with manifestation. It shows you where you're stuck and where the path is already open. So how do you actually use tarot to clarify intention and track momentum? Let me walk you through a simple approach I use myself. First, you ask a grounded question. Not, will this happen, but what's forming here? Where is my focus actually landing? What needs my attention for this to move forward? The question shapes the reading. A vague question gets a vague answer. A specific, honest question gets clarity. Then you notice the suit balance. Wands point to action, energy, movement. Pentacles point to material grounding, resources, tangible steps. Cups point to emotional investment, relationships, intuition. Swords point to clarity, decisions, and mental structure. If you pull a spread about starting a project and it's all wands, you got the energy and enthusiasm, but maybe not enough grounding. All pentacles mean you got the structure, but maybe not enough spark. All swords, you're thinking about it, but not feeling it yet. All cups, you're emotionally invested, but haven't made it practical. Balance matters. Next, you notice the numbers. Aces are beginnings. 2 are choices or partnerships. 3s are early momentum. 4s are stability. 5s are friction or challenges. 6s are often harmony or movement through difficulty. 7s are reassessments. 8s are action and speed. 9s are near completion. 10s are endings or burdens. So if you pull a spread and you're seeing a lot of early numbers like aces, 2s, 3s, you're still at the beginning. The intention is still forming, but hasn't solidified. If you're seeing 8s, 9s, and 10s, something's already in motion and nearing resolution or needing release. Then you read direction and posture. Notice how the figures face different directions. Are they moving forward, looking back, standing still, reaching? That matters. A card showing someone moving forward with open posture. That's momentum. Figure turned away or hesitant. That's resistance or delay. Holding something close, protection or withholding. Hands open, receptivity or offering. Direction and posture tells you about the energy flow. And finally, you notice whether the cards are upright or reversed. Reverses add nuance. They show you where energy gets blocked, distorted, or turned inward. And if you're working with the Light Seer's deck, the guidebook does something useful. It gives you both the Light Seer and the Shadow Seer aspects for each card, whether it's upright or reverse. The light seer side shows you what's available when you're working with the energy cleanly. The shadow seer side shows where things get stuck or need attention. You don't need reversals with this deck because both aspects are already built in. But if you're reading with reversal in any deck, you're working with the same concept. Upright shows the energy in its clearest form. Reverse shows you where it's blocked, internalized, or needs adjustment. So if you pull the magician upright, you have the tools and the focus. Reversed, you may not be using them, or you might be doubting your readiness. If you pull the Three of Wands upright, there's progress, energy manifested, things moving in the right direction. Reverse, delays, fear blocking movement, maybe not dreaming big enough. The question is always, which one describes your current relationship to this intention? This is how tarot helps with manifestation. It's not about predicting whether something will happen. It's about reading where you are, what's moving, what's stuck, and what needs to shift. You're not asking the cards to make it happen. You're asking them to show you what's already happening and where your attention needs to go. Let me give you a simple spread you can use for this kind of work. I call it the Intention Clarity Spread. 5 cards. Position 1, the spark. What initiated this intention? Where did it come from? Position number 2, what I already have. Resources, skills, support already present. Position 3, what needs attention? The gap, the missing piece, the blind spot. Position 4, where momentum exists. What's already moving that you may not be seeing. And finally, position 5, first action. The immediate next step that has traction. This spread doesn't predict outcomes. It clarifies where you stand. It shows you what's grounded and what's still floating. It helps you see whether you're in the spark phase or the action phase or the waiting phase. You can use it for projects, conversations, decision, anything where you're trying to move from idea to form. Let me tell you about a reading I did a few months ago that really clarified this for me. A woman came to my table and said she was trying to manifest a promotion at work for over a year. She said she's been visualizing, she's been affirmating, she's been journaling, but nothing was happening. And she wanted to know why the universe was blocking her. I asked her to tell me what she actually done in terms of action. Had she spoken to her manager about the role? Had she asked what skills or experience she needed to develop? Had she applied formally or expressed interest? She said no. She didn't want to seem pushy. She was waiting for them to notice her readiness. I pulled 3 cards, the Page of Wands, the Hermit, and the 5 of Pentacles. The Page of Wands in the Light Seer's deck is about creative beginnings, inspiration, but also limiting beliefs and the need to ground ambitions with a plan of action. The Hermit is about introspection, going inward, sometimes isolation. The 5 of Pentacles is about not recognizing resources and opportunities that are actually available. And here's what I told her. You're holding the spark of this idea close, like the Page of Wands. You're inspired. You believe it's possible, but you're not putting it into action. The Hermit says you've been processing this internally, maybe overthinking it, maybe waiting for the right moment. And the 5 of Pentacles is showing you sitting beneath the door above you, with the key behind you. You're not looking up to see the door. You're not looking back to see the key. You're not seeing what's available. The opportunity exists. You just have to reach for it. You're leaving yourself out by not speaking up. She got quiet and then said, I thought if I just held the intention clearly enough, they'd see it. And I said, the cards are showing you what's actually happening. You have the idea and you're sitting on it. If you want momentum, you have to take the step. The universe isn't going to tell your boss what you're thinking. 2 months later, she came back to the fair. She had the conversation. She applied for the role. She didn't get the exact promotion she wanted. She got a lateral move with more responsibility and a clear path towards what she was hoping for. The cards didn't predict that. They showed her where she was stuck and what needed to shift. That's manifestation through tarot. It's not magic, it's clarity. Let's take a few minutes together to set a clear intention using the breath and symbolic focus. If you're driving or doing something that requires your full attention, skip ahead now and come back to this section later when you have time to sit with it. This isn't healing practice, it's not emotional processing. This is just a way to ground your attention and clarify what you're actually trying to create. So find a comfortable position, close your eyes if that feels right, or soften your gaze. We're going to use square breathing to settle in. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Let's begin. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Again, breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. Bring to mind something you've been hoping to create or build. Not something you're wishing for, something you're actually considering. A project, conversation, a shift in how you're approaching something. Let it come into focus without forcing it. Now, notice, where do you feel this intention in your body? Is there tightness, openness, stillness, movement? Just notice. Now bring your attention to the spark, the very beginning of this intention, the moment when the idea first arrived, the energy of newness, possibility, raw potential. Don't force an image, just notice what that spark feels like. The spark is asking, what's the first step? Not the whole plan, just the first real action. The one thing you can do tomorrow that would move this from idea to form. Let that step come into focus. Don't judge it. Don't make it complicated. Just see it clearly. Now shift your energy to what you already have. The tools, the resources, the skills, the connections, the knowledge. You already possess something that supports this intention. What is it? Let that awareness settle. Don't search for it. Just notice what's already there. Now bring your attention to what's already in motion. What have you already done, even in small ways, that's connected to this intention? Where is this momentum present that you haven't fully acknowledged? Just notice what comes up. Good. Now bring your awareness back to your breath. Inhale slowly and exhale. Inhale, exhale. When you're ready, open your eyes. What you just did is what tarot does. It focuses your attention. It helps you see what's already present. It clarifies where action is needed and where you're already moving. The spark, the tools, the momentum. These are the stages that the cards like the Ace of Wands, the Magician, and the Three of Wands points to. You just work with them directly. That's the practice. Now let's pull a collective card for everyone listening. Today's card is the Five of Wands from the Light Seer's Tarot. In this deck, the Five of Wands shows 5 figures on tilting scaffolding of wands, reaching upward together toward the light, not fighting each other. They're wearing the same clothes. This is a competitive event, a team challenge. The wands are marked with fire symbols. All the energy is moving upward. They're reaching together for the light. The card is about friction that generates momentum, competition, conflict, the challenge of being pushed by others to excel. It's dynamic energy, the kind that makes you level up. The shadow side shows what happens when competition becomes isolation. In-group fighting, avoiding conflict to your detriment, losing connection. Here's what the Five of Wands is saying to all of us this week. If you're working on intention, expect friction. It's not a problem. It's the natural result of movement. When you start building something real, you'll bump up against other people's priorities, encounter competing demands, and having to navigate energy that doesn't align perfectly with yours. That's not a problem. That's the process. The five figures won't reach the light by pushing against each other. They'll reach it by choosing to collaborate. The friction isn't meant to isolate you. It's meant to show you where connection and cooperation matter. The Five of Wands asks, does this competition bring out your negative or positive qualities? How can your current challenge help you excel? What are you learning about working with the energy of others? These are good questions. So this week, if you're working on manifesting something and you feel friction or competing demands, don't take it as a sign you're on the wrong path. It might mean your intention is gaining traction. When something moves from idea to action, it starts interacting with the world around you. Other people's priorities, timelines that don't match yours, resources you have to negotiate for. That's all part of turning an intention into something real. The friction tells you you're in motion. The Five of Wands says, keep moving, navigate that friction, don't avoid it, and don't let it stop you. That's the collective message. All right, that's where we'll leave it for today. Manifestation without the cosmic promises, cards as stages, not guarantees. We've covered wishful thinking versus symbolic clarity, a 5-card spread, a fairy story, a visualization, and the Five of Wands and friction. Manifestation through tarot isn't about attraction, it's about attention. It's about seeing where your focus is landing, where your action is needed, and where momentum already exists. The cards don't make things happen, they clarify what's already in motion. If this conversation supported your own tarot practice, feel free to follow the show or share it with another reader. I'm George Dus, and you're listening to the Tarot Talk Show podcast. Until next time.